Our final speaker of this session is Tim Mason, Chief Executive Officer of Eagle Mountain Mining. Tim is a geotechnical engineer with over 20 years' experience across a broad range of mine management, project studies, commercial and business development. This experience extends across a range of commodities. Tim joined as CEO in November 2019, where, under his leadership, Eagle Mountain has seen the discovery of new mineralised zones around their high-grade Oracle Ridge copper mine in Arizona. Tim has strong passion for energy-efficient mining operations, which will be a key focus for the company as they advance towards production. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks very much for staying around. I'm sure there are a few hungry stomachs in the audience, but look, I'm really excited to give you an overview, an update of our Oracle Ridge project in Arizona. We're working towards a restart. It's an existing mine, so I guess that really ticks a lot of boxes for that pathway through to production, but we're leveraging off some recent discoveries that we've had, and I'll run you through those. But in particular, our ore body has some great attributes for low emission mining as well. So that's a big part of our focus for our restart. Now, I've got to touch quickly on a bit about the copper market. We heard some great things about lithium there as well, but copper is the metal for electrification, and I think a lot of us know this. S&P recently put out some research recently on the copper market, and they're forecasting copper demand to double by 2035, which is quite an amazing statistic, and that's really fueled by this race to zero emissions. Currently 140 countries have now signed up in some regard to net zero, which personally I'm really excited about. I think that's great, and we're obviously seeing a lot of companies and corporations doing such similar things. So that's absolutely fabulous, but it generates a few challenges about where this is all going to come from. And I'll read you a couple of quotes here. The IMF recently stated that striving to achieve net zero is likely to spur unprecedented demand for some of the most crucial metals, and this was in relation to copper. And that theme and rhetoric is largely replicated by the World Bank, the European Commission, the US Senate and Energy Committee, the International Energy Agency, and the Biden administration, which is particularly important for us because we're in Arizona. So 25 million tonnes forecast required by 2035. Now, to put that into context, Escondida, world's largest copper mine by a factor of 2 to 2.5, produced 1.4 million tonnes. So we need multiple tier one projects to come online. That's my disclaimers and apologies for that. We need multiple tier one projects to come online. So is that actually going to be achievable? I'm not exactly sure, and I would suggest it's going to be very, very challenging. Why is it going to be challenging? Well, grades are going down around the world. It typically takes decade, if not decades, from discovery to put these large projects into production. Now, that's the supply gap, and they're forecast that to come on from 2025. Now, this bodes really, really well for our Oracle Ridge project, which is a great time frame for us. We've got an existing mine. It's in a tier one location with that history of production. So just going on to tier one jurisdictions, we've heard a lot about that today in the last couple of days. Arizona was ranked number 2 on the Fraser Institute for Investment Attractiveness, so it's a great place to be doing business. Oracle Ridge previously ran at a pretty modest rate of about 300,000 tonnes a year in its production timeframe. We're looking to really ramp that up, to really make the economics hum, and we're focused on building up our resources. It's got a track record of producing a good quality bulk copper, silver, gold concentrate with no penalties as well, and it's also been permitted as well. So we're focusing on, it's just a great asset for being able to leverage off that. And a big focus for us as well will be low emission mining by using low emission equipment, and then that will further enable reduced energy consumption from ventilation systems too. So we're in Arizona. We're in a belt called the Laramide Arc, which goes from, I'll put it down here on the screen, goes all the way down from Mexico, up through Arizona and up into Nevada. The Laramide age rocks, you get the big systems, so you've got the right geology for the mines, and we're surrounded by the majors. BHP, Rio Tinto, South 32, Hud Bay and Freeport. Our CEO in the US, Manuel Ramos, was the former president of ASARCO. So they ran a lot of the big projects. So we're attracting great people because they see the opportunity in what we've got in Arizona. And as you would expect, there's the road, the rail, the mining services that you require for these sorts of projects. Being surrounded by the majors is very, very helpful. We've got an existing underground mine. Now, not many companies, certainly of our stage, have such an asset, which we can currently go down and we're currently refurbishing. The ground conditions are absolutely fabulous. When it was last mined in the mid-90s, a lot of the infrastructure is already there. There's about 18 kilometres of existing development. There's the electrical, there's the vent fans and those sorts of things. So it's a great asset. If you had to go and put that in today, easily you could see over $100 million worth of expenditure required. So that's great for our rapid restart potential. The majority of the mineralisation is chalcopyrite. There's a bit of bornite in there and chalcocite too, but you can physically go up and you can touch the ore. There's stopes there which have still got rings there which were previously not fired previously when it was in operation. So that is an absolute fabulous asset. This is driving through the existing mine. It's limestone hosted, so a lot of the bolts, it hasn't rusted out. It's acid neutralising. So that's great from the mining sense, but it's also really good from a tailings perspective too, because you don't get those acid plumes because it's got that acid neutralising capacity. We've currently got a JORC resource of 17 million tonnes at a 1% copper cutoff, so not a copper equivalent, so that's excluding the silver and the gold in there, and at a 0.8% copper cutoff, that increases by about 32%. More contained metal. So it provides a lot of optionality. There's really nice high-grade portions there as well, but depending on where the copper price goes, there's certainly some very, very big scale potential. We recently updated the JORC resource in March, and we're about to update the JORC resource again this quarter. So quite quick turnarounds. In the last quarter, to give you an idea, we drilled 14 kilometres of drilling. Here's a picture of the drilling. Now, some of the challenges that we've had is that the terrain is quite steep. So it's probably why this never got discovered previously. But this is an amazing asset for when it comes to low emission mining, which I'll get onto. So we've committed the expenditure, and we've had some great new discoveries around the existing resource. Very, very close, and we'll certainly look to do that. So I won't expect you to read these, and I do appreciate that some of them are pretty small, but I'll read out some of the recent hits that we've had. 55 metres at 2.1% copper, half a gram per tonne gold, 20 metres at 2%, 69 metres at 1.6%, 46 metres at 2.1% copper. So some really good intercepts and some great grade there. Around Arizona, it's not unusual that you get the scale potential. And around like mines south of us, you get a central concentrator and then they bring in various different types of ore bodies. So understanding the type of mineralisation, we had a bit of a look around us and we found this contact pretty close to us really, along this orange, see this orange line going around through there? So that was an outcrop of copper mineralisation. Essentially everywhere it was outcropping, it was mineralised. And yeah, rock chip samples going 6 to 10% copper. So absolutely fabulous. But more excitingly, there was a good magnetic anomaly dipping back towards the existing mine. So we're building up lots of great targets, and we'll go and drill that target. That one's called Oryx as soon as we possibly can. That EM anomaly, or not EM, that magnetic anomaly dipping in went in for about 3 kilometres. So you get the big scale with these sorts of assets. A lot of the existing mines around us, they start mining the skarns, which is what we've got, and then they've gone on to find exactly the largest system. Here's a photo of some of the outcropping mineralisation. A lot of it, mined back, with little adits and things back in the, the mid-1900s. So you can see there's definitely plenty of copper mineralisation around us. This is all outside the existing JORC numbers, the resource numbers. Here's a view of our project, and you can see where the two portals are located up on the hill. And then that's Oryx, which I was just talking about just a moment ago, and there's another project we're seeing some excitement around called Golden Eagle. The mineralisation is up here on the hill, so the terrain is quite steep, but that's really good for things like pumped hydro for low emission mining. Now, gravity is our friend. Now, why is gravity our friend? Unlike traditional underground mines, you're trying to bring things up from at depth. It allows us to potentially use existing battery electric equipment. And the two biggest emissions on a mine are from your equipment, so your trucks and your loaders predominantly, and then from your ventilation systems. So by being able to use battery electric equipment, running downhill loaded, then generating enough power to get back uphill, that greatly reduces the emissions from underground, and then that in turn reduces your emissions from your ventilation systems as well. So this will be a big focus for us. There's been a lot of developments around crushing technology, conveyor technology, running downhill, generating power, which you could then feed back into your system as well. So corporately, still tightly held, 260 million shares on issue, market cap of about $67 million. The board and the management still hold about a third of the assets of the register, and they continue to contribute to the capital raising. So they're putting their money behind this, showing their confidence in the project as well. Share price has been coming off in the recent times, so we're even cheaper than where we were previously. And then we've got some great high net worths on the register as well. Charlie Bass founded the company. He still owns a large portion of it. Veteran, very well known in the mining sector. He's very, very hands-on, providing his wise guidance to the company. So look, in summary, copper is certainly in demand. It's positioning us really well to benefit from a rapid restart of the project. We've got great infrastructure on site, 18 kilometres of existing development. We're rapidly building up our JORC resources. We had started off with 12 million tonnes. We recently took that up to 17 million tonnes, and we'll update that JORC resource again. We're focusing on a low disturbance underground mine, which will be very, very low emissions is the plan. We've got great geology for prospective growth. We're in a Tier 1 jurisdiction, which is ever so important to be able to make this happen. We've got one of the best teams around with Charlie Bass, Manuel Ramos, former president of ASARCO. And what I really like as well is that this was a project that was previously mined. So that, in my mind, de-risks that pathway through into production, which will really capitalise on the rising copper prices. So that's Eagle Mountain Mining. We're at the booth. Please come and have a chat to us if you'd like, and we'll take any questions. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Tim. That's taken us right up to lunchtime, so if you have any questions, please go and see Tim at the booth. That's the end of the morning sessions. Please put your hands together again quickly for all the presenters that we have had. Lunch is currently being served in the marquee, so make your way over. Thank you.